Long ago, in the heart of a lush, green valley surrounded by rolling hills and thick forest, lay the village of Olanri. The people of Olanri were famous for their hard work and kindness. Their yam fields stretched endlessly, cocoa trees stood tall and proud, and their river sparkled with fish that leaped like silver darts. Everyone in Olanri believed in one simple rule: work hard, reap plenty. They taught this to their children from the day they could walk. But there was one boy who defied this rule, Talabi, the laziest and greediest boy in the entire village. Talabi was tall and strong, with broad shoulders like a warrior, but his heart was filled with laziness and selfishness. He would sleep till the sun was high and spend his days lounging under the old baobab tree, dreaming of riches and power. "Why should I work like a common farmer?" he often boasted. "One day, I'll be richer than a king, without lifting a finger." The villagers would shake their heads sadly. Strength without work is like a river that never flows, useless and stagnant. Talabi, a young African boy with a proud smirk, leans against the massive baobab tree while villagers pass by carrying heavy baskets of yams, fruits, and firewood. His arms are crossed lazily, and his expression is full of arrogance as he sneers at their hard work. The villagers glance at him disapprovingly but continue walking. An eager young farmer, Kola, stands in a yam field with a hoe slung over his shoulder, sweat glistening on his brow. He gestures toward the field, inviting Talabi to help plant yams. Talabi stands nearby, yawning with boredom, dismissing Kola's offer with a lazy wave of his hand. "Why should I toil under the sun when I could be resting under the baobab tree?" Talabi scoffed. "Foolish is the man who works when he could live like a king." Kola sighed, shaking his head. "One day, Talabi, you will learn that the earth rewards only those who sweat for it." A bustling African village market filled with colorful stalls of fruits, yams, fabrics, and fish. Traders shout to attract customers, and buyers haggle over prices. Children dart between the stalls, playing and laughing, while goats and chickens roam freely. In the middle of the busy market, an elderly woman, Mama Oso, struggles with a heavy basket of yams, her face showing determination despite her frailty. Her back is bent, her steps slow but steady. Mama Oso, an elderly African woman with wrinkled skin and tired eyes, leans heavily on her walking stick while holding a large basket of yams. She looks up pleadingly at Talabi, who stands lazily under the baobab tree, dismissing her with a sneer. "Talabi, my son, help me carry this basket to the market," she begged, her voice trembling. Talabi smirked. "Help you? What will I get in return?" "Blessings, my child," she replied softly. Talabi chuckled. "Blessings won't fill my stomach or make me rich. Ask someone else." Heartbroken, Mama also shuffled away, leaving behind a cloud of dust and silent disappointment. African villagers worked tirelessly in a yam field under the blazing sun. Women balanced heavy baskets of yams on their heads with graceful ease. Men hoed the soil with strong, rhythmic strokes, while children filled clay jars with water from the nearby stream. The village was alive with energy as they prepared for the king's arrival. Brightly colored fabrics were hung, and the scent of roasted yams filled the air. Talabi, lounging comfortably under the shade of the giant baobab tree, gazed into the sky with a greedy, dreamy expression. In his mind's eye, images of golden palaces, overflowing treasures, and royal feasts appeared as glowing visions floating above him. "One day, I will be greater than all these simpletons," he whispered to himself. His face lit up with ambition and selfish desire. Two royal guards, dressed in majestic African warrior attire, blew long, ornately carved trumpets at the entrance of the village. Their sound echoed through the valley like the call of mighty elephants. The villagers gathered excitedly, dressed in their finest traditional clothes, faces lit with curiosity and anticipation. Behind the guards stood Baba Aru, the village crier, holding his ceremonial staff with regal authority. Baba Aru, the town crier, stood proudly in the village square, holding a large brass bell and an elaborately carved staff of authority. His voice boomed like thunder as he announced, "Hear ye! Hear ye! By the grace of the ancestors and the might of the king, His Royal Majesty will visit Olanri in 7 days' time. Prepare your harvest and honor his arrival." Villagers murmured in excitement, their faces filled with awe and anticipation. Talabi crouched behind a thick tree trunk, his face twisted with envy and resentment. In the distance, the villagers celebrated Kola's success by lifting him high on their shoulders. The air was filled with joyous laughter as the king's guards presented Kola with gold coins and a royal silk robe in recognition of his hard work. Talabi clenched his fist. "Why him?" he hissed. "Why not me?" The night after the king's announcement, Talabi sat under the old baobab tree, his mind consumed by bitterness and jealousy. Connie imagined himself wearing golden robes, sitting on a grand throne while servants bowed before him. "Why should Kola be celebrated while I remain unnoticed?" he muttered angrily. "There must be a quicker way to riches." As if summoned by his dark thoughts, the wind howled, and the leaves of the baobab tree rustled ominously. A shadowy figure emerged from the depth of the forest, cloaked in tattered robes that seemed woven from the night itself. "Talabi," the figure hissed, its voice like the wind through dry grass. "I have watched you. I know what you desire." Talabi's eyes widened in fear, but his greed burned brighter than his caution. What are you?" he demanded. "I am Aje the Whisperer, keeper of secrets and granter of wishes, for a price." Talabi's heart pounded. "Can you make me the richest man in Olanri?" Aje smiled, revealing sharp, gleaming teeth. "Wealth beyond measure, but only if you are willing to trade something precious." Talabi hesitated. "What do you want?" "Your spirit of compassion," Aje replied. "With it gone, you will care for nothing but gold." Blinded by greed, Talabi nodded eagerly. "Take it. Compassion is for fools." With a sinister laugh, Aje snapped her fingers, and a cold wind swirled around Talabi, drawing out a shimmering light from his chest. The warmth of kindness vanished from his heart, replaced by a hollow, burning hunger for wealth. "It is done," Aje declared. "Go now, and seize your destiny." Before Talabi could thank her, she vanished into the shadows, leaving only the whisper of the wind behind. The next morning, Talabi woke with a strange sense of purpose. He felt no guilt or shame, only an intense desire to possess everything valuable. He marched into the village square, where traders were busy setting up their stalls. With a cunning smile, Talabi approached Babajide, the wealthiest merchant in Olanri. "Babajide," Talabi said smoothly, "I have a secret investment that will double your fortune overnight." Intrigued but cautious, Babajide raised an eyebrow. "What kind of investment?" "Rare gemstones from the forbidden caves," Talabi lied confidently. "But I need a loan of 20 bags of cowries to retrieve them." Tempted by greed, Babajide agreed, despite the villagers' warnings that Talabi was not to be trusted. Days later, Talabi returned with sacks filled with ordinary stones covered in shiny leaves. He tricked Babajide into believing they were enchanted gems. Within weeks, Talabi had amassed enough wealth to build the grandest hut in the village. He wore gold-trimmed robes and hosted lavish feasts. Yet, his hunger for riches only grew. As Talabi's fortune increased, so did the villagers' suffering. He bought their farms for scraps, claiming their debts were unpaid. Families were driven from their homes, forced to work in his yam fields as unpaid laborers. One evening, Mama Oso, now frail and homeless, approached Talabi's grand estate, hoping for mercy. "Please, Talabi," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "Have pity, let me stay in one of your huts." Talabi sneered. "I owe you nothing. Be gone before I have my guards throw you out." Desperate, Mama also raised her hands toward the sky. "Spirits of the land, Hear my cry. May Talabi learn the price of greed before it consumes him. Thunder rumbled ominously, though no clouds darkened the sky. That night, as Talabi counted his riches by the flickering light of an oil lamp, a sudden chill filled the air. The flames dimmed, and an eerie silence fell over his grand estate. Suddenly, Aje the Whisperer appeared, cloaked in swirling shadows. Her eyes gleamed like burning coals. Talabi, she hissed. You have taken more than you bargained for. The spirits are angry. Talabi scoffed. I owe no one. My wealth is mine alone. Aje's expression darkened. Greed devours even kings. You will soon learn this. She raised her bony hands and uttered ancient incantations. Talabi's gold coins melted into sand, his grand estate crumbled into dust, and the rich robes on his back rotted into rags. His heart burned with unbearable hunger, not for food, but for riches he could no longer possess. Before Talabi could protest, roots burst from the ground, wrapping around his legs like living chains. He struggled, but they dragged him deep into the earth. You shall wander the cursed plains, forever seeking but never finding, Aje decreed. Until your heart changes, or perishes in greed. With a final scream, Talabi disappeared into the darkness. Talabi awoke in a barren, endless wasteland. The sky was grey and lifeless, the air thick with the scent of ash. Twisted trees stood like skeletons, and the ground was cracked and dry. Where am I? He gasped. A distant voice echoed mockingly, the plains of endless desire. Driven by desperation, Talabi wandered the desolate land. In the distance, he saw a mountain of glittering treasures, gold, gems, and precious artifacts. With renewed greed, he raced toward it. But the closer he ran, the farther the treasure seemed to drift. His feet burned on the hot, cracked earth, yet he pressed on, obsessed with reaching the riches. Days turned into weeks. Exhausted and starving, Talabi collapsed near a withered stream. His body was weak, but his desire still burned fiercely. One day, as Talabi lay on the scorched ground, he heard a faint cry for help. In the distance, he saw a young boy trapped under a fallen tree branch. At first, Talabi sneered. Why should I help? What's in it for me? But as he turned away, memories of Mama Oso's pleading face flashed in his mind. For the first time, guilt pierced his hollow heart. With great effort, Talabi stumbled toward the boy and lifted the heavy branch, freeing him. Thank you, the boy gasped, tears streaming down his face. In that moment, warmth spread through Talabi's chest, a feeling he hadn't experienced in years. The twisted trees around them shuddered and bloomed with green leaves. The sky brightened, and a gentle breeze swept the barren plains. The boy smiled. Kindness is the greatest treasure of all. Talabi collapsed, overcome by exhaustion, but his heart felt lighter than ever before. Talabi awoke beneath the familiar shade of the old baobab tree in Olanri. His ragged clothes were gone, replaced by simple but clean garments. The villagers walked nearby, their laughter echoing through the fields. Confused but grateful, Talabi rose and walked toward the village square. There he saw Mama Oso, now healthier and surrounded by kind villagers. With tears in his eyes, he knelt before her. Forgive me. I was blind. Mama Oso gently helped him up. The past is gone. What matters is what you choose to become. From that day, Talabi worked harder than anyone in Olanri. He tilled the fields, helped the elderly, and shared whatever he had. Though he no longer sought wealth, prosperity followed him because of his honesty and kindness. The villagers forgave him, and Talabi became a legend of redemption, teaching future generations that true riches lie in compassion and hard work.